On July 8, 2024, a tragic event unfolded at Church's Chicken in Memphis, Tennessee, when a single bullet pierced the air, hitting a fast food worker in the midst of her shift. This shocking encounter between two women, one a hard-working employee simply doing her job, and the other, an irate customer, sent waves of shock throughout the community. What began as a normal evening shift for 48-year-old Anitra West would sadly turn into her last after a mistake with a customer's chicken order. The aftermath, captured by witnesses, police reports, and surveillance footage, revealed the grim sequence of events. But even after the suspect was apprehended, a more profound question lingered. What could have driven such a senseless act? The horror of the crime wasn't just in its brutality, but also in its location. This wasn't some hidden, isolated incident. It occurred in broad daylight in a neighborhood that families frequented, at a place where many went for a quick meal. What was even more unsettling was the revelation that the two women involved were not strangers. A much deeper, personal history connected them, and this revelation left those who thought they knew both women in shock. To truly understand the weight of this tragedy, we need to look at the life of Anitra West, the victim who lost her life far too soon. I first heard about the incident on the news last night, and it was heartbreaking to hear that a young woman was simply trying to make a living, only for her life to be taken from her in such an unexpected way. Memphis, Tennessee, is a city where the legacy of the Mississippi River, music, and Southern soul blend to create a vibrant atmosphere. It's a city full of passion, historic charm, and festivals that bring life to its streets. In 2024, the city saw a significant reduction in crime, with overall crime dropping by over 13%, homicides decreasing, and motor vehicle thefts going down. Yet, despite these improvements, Memphis still faced challenges with high levels of violent crime, maintaining its position among the most dangerous cities in the U.S., signaling the ongoing need for effective intervention. Anitra West was born in 1976, and from an early age, she placed great importance on her family. She was deeply rooted in the Memphis community, where everyone seemed to know one another. Friends and family recall Anitra as a person whose presence filled a room with warmth. Her infectious smile had the power to brighten even the darkest moments. During her school years, she was well-liked by both her peers and teachers, and the lessons learned during those formative years shaped her into a resilient, hardworking woman who always tackled life's challenges head-on while staying true to her roots. Pants, shoes, shoulders, chest, each item carefully chosen. I pull up to the club, fresh, with the B emblazoned on my sleeve, showing off the dad. When Anitra started working, it wasn't just about making ends meet. It became a point of pride. She was known for her reliability, always taking her job seriously, no matter the position or location. By 2024, Anitra had settled into her role at Church's Chicken on Park Avenue in Orange Mound. She approached it with the same dedication she had in every aspect of her life. Her coworkers admired her not only for her strong work ethic, but also for her ability to stay positive during the busiest, most stressful shifts. But above all, her greatest role was as a mother. Anitra had a 12-year-old daughter, whom she shared with her former husband, Lorenzo West Jr. They had been married for 16 years before separating, but their bond remained strong through their shared commitment to raising their daughter. For Lorenzo, Anitra was much more than his ex-wife. She had been his high school sweetheart, and she played a significant role in shaping who he had become. The love of my life was taken away. The only woman I ever chose, he reflected. I learned so much about myself, about my mental health, through our marriage, our divorce, and her passing. Their daughter was the heart of Anitra's world. Every decision she made, every shift she worked, was driven by a desire to give her child a better life. Those who knew Anitra described her as a radiant spirit, a beautiful soul who made everyone feel seen and valued. But on the evening of Monday, July 8, 2024, everything would change. It all began with what seemed like a minor disagreement. That night, Anitra was working her shift at Church's Chicken in Orange Mound, located at 2963 Park Avenue. A familiar spot for locals, the restaurant had become a popular late-night stop. It was just after 9 p.m. when a teal-colored SUV pulled into the drive-thru lane. Behind the wheel was 45-year-old Monica Williams, a woman with whom Anitra shared a long, personal history. What happened next unfolded in fragments, some captured on surveillance footage, others from witness accounts, and some relayed by those on the phone with Anitra at the time. The situation at the drive-thru window quickly escalated into an argument. Initially, the dispute was over payment for the food, but family members of Anitra would later argue that it wasn't just about the meal. It was personal. They believed the tension between the two women had been building long before that night, and that confrontation was the breaking point. As the argument raged, Monica eventually drove off from the window. It seemed like the conflict had ended, but as Anitra's co-workers would soon find out, it was far from over. Shaken and upset, Anitra decided to step outside to clear her mind. She had been wearing earbuds during the earlier exchange, speaking to a friend on the phone. That friend would later recall hearing the entire argument and recalled something chilling. Before driving off, the woman in the teal SUV had made threats. Then, without warning, the SUV returned to the lot. Surveillance footage later confirmed the sequence. Monica had driven away only to circle back. The vehicle pulled up, and moments later, a single gunshot shattered the night. Witnesses inside the restaurant heard the shot and saw the SUV speeding away from the scene. Outside, Anitra was found lying on the ground, critically wounded. Co-workers rushed to her side, calling her name, pleading for her to hold on. Emergency responders arrived shortly after, rushing her to Regional 1 Health. Despite their best efforts, Anitra was pronounced dead about an hour later. A simple disagreement had escalated into a fatal shooting, leaving a daughter without her mother, an ex-husband without his lifelong partner, and a community without one of its most cherished members. When the 911 calls came in just after 9 p.m. on July 8th, Memphis police knew they were dealing with a critical emergency. Officers sped toward the scene in orange Mound, sirens wailing as dispatchers relayed urgent details. Upon arriving at the restaurant, they found chaos. Staff and customers were visibly shaken, some in tears, others pointing frantically in the direction the SUV had sped off. Outside, near the parking lot, lay 48-year-old Anitra West, gravely injured. Paramedics quickly took over, stabilizing her before rushing her to the ambulance. While the medical team worked tirelessly, officers began securing the scene. They set up crime scene tape, documenting shell casings, bullet trajectories, and other vital evidence. Investigators acted swiftly, collecting surveillance footage from the restaurant's cameras, footage that would soon prove critical. Witnesses gave consistent descriptions. The shooter had driven through the drive-thru, argued with Anitra, and then left only to return minutes later, fire a shot, and speed away. Even more disturbing, some witnesses reported hearing threats before the gunshot, making it clear this wasn't an accidental shooting. Meanwhile, detectives learned that Anitra had been on the phone during the initial confrontation. The friend on the line told police she clearly heard the argument, including the chilling threat made by the customer to kill Anitra. When Anitra stepped outside, the friend stayed on the line and heard Anitra recognize the same woman pulling back into the parking lot. Moments later, the call ended with the unmistakable sound of a gunshot. Despite the strong evidence, police still needed to confirm the identity of the suspect. The investigation moved quickly. Detectives reviewed the surveillance footage frame by frame. The teal SUV was clearly visible, along with the driver's distinctive purple hair. Still images were circulated among law enforcement agencies and the public in hopes someone would recognize the woman. It didn't take long. A tip came in from a woman who had seen news reports about the shooting. She identified the suspect as 45-year-old Monica Williams and provided details about her vehicle and movements that night. Detectives followed up on the tip immediately. They arrived at Monica's home and confirmed that the teal SUV matched the one in the footage. The vehicle was seized as evidence, but Monica was not at home. The tipster shared that Monica and her 10-year-old son had been in the SUV during the initial argument, but that she had dropped him off before the shooting. Monica claimed she had no idea what had happened until she saw the news the next day. By that time, Monica had briefly returned home, packed an overnight bag, and left again. This information, combined with video evidence, witness testimony, and phone records provided investigators with enough to secure an arrest warrant. On July 11th, just 3 days after the shooting, the Shelby County District Attorney's Office officially charged Monica Williams with first-degree murder. However, Monica was nowhere to be found. Memphis police issued a statement identifying Monica Williams as the wanted suspect in connection with the killing of Anitra West. The arrest warrant was filed for first-degree murder, following the fatal shooting at the Church's Chicken on Park Avenue in Orange Mound. Police said the shooting occurred after an argument at the drive-thru. For nearly a week, Monica managed to avoid capture. Law enforcement agencies across the area were on high alert, but the suspect remained elusive. Authorities across the state were alerted to be on the lookout for Monica Williams. Memphis police urged the public to share any information on her whereabouts, warning that she should be considered armed and dangerous. Detectives retraced her known connections, reaching out to family, friends, and acquaintances. They monitored social media, searched potential hiding places, and followed up on every lead. As the search continued, tension grew in the community. Anitra West's family was speaking out more, sharing their grief. Regs Allen Self spoke with those closest to Anitra. The Shelby County District Attorney's Office had released updated photos of Monica Williams, now wanted for the murder of Anitra West. Lorenzo West Jr., Anitra's former husband, said anyone aiding Williams should also face consequences. "I'm just glad they issued the arrest warrant. They need to charge anyone who helped her hide or avoid capture," Lorenzo said. "I don't know what Tennessee's laws are, but I believe people should be held accountable for helping her." Lorenzo recalled that his family had known Monica Williams for years. "We lived just down the street from her as kids." Orange Mound is a small community, and it's rare that people in our age group don't know each other. "We all went to the same schools, elementary, middle, or high school." Lorenzo also wanted to clarify the nature of the shooting, asserting that it wasn't about the disputed chicken order. "I know Anitra was too important for this to be about food. It wasn't about the meal. It was something personal, something that couldn't be let go of. Once words are exchanged in Memphis, we all know how things can escalate." Lorenzo and his daughter, Zoe, were still grieving Anitra's loss. He shared that their last conversation had been about trying to rekindle their relationship. "I told her I wanted to give it another shot," he said. "I didn't want anyone else." For many, the question remained how long before Williams would be caught, and would she harm anyone else in the meantime? But the resolution came in an unexpected way. On Monday, July 15th, Monica Williams walked into a Memphis police precinct and surrendered. The reasons behind her decision remained unclear, whether it was the mounting pressure from law enforcement, fear of being found, or the influence of those around her. She was booked into the Shelby County Jail on a first-degree murder charge, and her time in court would soon begin. After a week-long search, Monica Williams had finally been captured. She was the woman accused of shooting 48-year-old Anitra West, a Church's Chicken employee in Orange Mound. Regs Tvarius Haywood shared details about how one of Monica's friends helped police identify her. The friend, who asked to remain unnamed, contacted police the day after the deadly incident. According to police records, the friend recalled being with Williams and her child during the argument at the Church's Chicken drive-thru. The argument began when Williams told the employee they had 2 orders, causing tension. Eventually, Williams decided not to place an order and drove up to the window to inform the employee. The witness described the situation becoming more heated, but no physical altercation occurred. Afterward, Williams dropped her friend and child off at home, saying she was going to get some chips to go with their dinner. According to the friend, Williams later returned between 11 p.m. and midnight, packed an overnight bag, and left without her car. The friend wasn't surprised to see Williams' car outside because she knew Williams often left with someone in the evenings. It wasn't until the friend saw Williams on the news the next morning that she called the police. Monica Williams is facing first-degree murder charges. She was expected to appear in court on the morning of July 16, 2024. Monica Williams, the woman accused of killing a Church's Chicken employee in Orange Mound, made her court appearance today, revealing new details about the deadly incident. According to court documents, 45-year-old Williams got into an argument with 48-year-old Anitra West after refusing to pay for her order. After the confrontation, Williams initially drove off, and Anitra stepped outside to get some fresh air. During this time, Anitra was on the phone with a friend who heard Williams return, making threats to kill her. Moments later, the friend heard a single gunshot followed by the voices of terrified coworkers calling Anitra's name. Williams is now facing first-degree murder charges and is being held without bond. During her court appearance, she showed little emotion, though at one point, she was seen wiping away tears and making hand gestures toward family members in the gallery. While Anitra's loved ones were relieved by the arrest, they knew it wasn't the end of their pain. Monica's surrender marked the beginning of a long legal process, and no matter the outcome, Anitra was gone. As the trial looms, the question remains, what will justice look like in this case? And how will the community react as it unfolds? With Monica Williams now in custody, the focus has shifted from the streets of Orange Mound to the courtroom, as the case of a fast food worker's tragic death while on the job moves forward. On Tuesday, Williams faced a judge for the first time, after being on the run for nearly a week. The 45-year-old, at times appearing to hide from the cameras, stood before the court, charged with the murder of Anitra West. A makeshift memorial now stands as a reminder of what happened at the church's chicken on Park Avenue. In the two-page affidavit, investigators described the argument between Williams and West, which took place after Williams went through the drive-thru. We also learned that a female passenger and her 10-year-old son were in the SUV, which was captured on surveillance video. After the dispute, Williams drove the mother and son back to their Dietrich Avenue home, then returned to the restaurant, where she encountered West outside, speaking on the phone. According to the witness on the phone, she heard Williams shout, "I will kill you." Detectives allege Williams then made good on her threat, shooting West in the head. Police say Williams later returned to the Dietrich Avenue home and parked the SUV there. Our team visited the home but was met with a closed door as we approached. In court, after a brief arraignment lasting only a minute, Williams was returned to jail. The judge mentioned that her attorney was unavailable today, and as a result, she has been ordered back to court the following day. We will continue to keep you updated on this case. The senselessness of the crime and the fact that it occurred in a public workplace over what many saw as a trivial argument has drawn widespread attention. At her initial court appearance, Monica Williams was formally charged with first-degree murder. Prosecutors presented the evidence they planned to use in the case, including eyewitness accounts, surveillance footage, Anitra's recorded conversation with a friend during the incident, and physical evidence collected from the crime scene and Monica's SUV. The state's case was clear and concise. This was a premeditated murder, committed just minutes after a heated argument, with Monica intentionally returning to the scene to carry out the act. Monica's defense team, however, suggested early on that they might challenge the premeditation charge, questioning whether the circumstances met the legal criteria for such a charge. Yet, the strength of the evidence presented made it difficult to overlook. Security footage showed Monica at the scene both before and during the shooting. Multiple witnesses had identified her distinctive purple hair and recalled the intense exchange between her and Anitra. The most damning testimony came from Anitra's friend, who overheard Monica threatening to kill Anitra just before the gunshot rang out. As the trial progressed, Monica's past convictions for violent crimes, including a 2009 aggravated assault that involved a stabbing, were widely discussed in the media, portraying her as someone with a history of aggression. While the judge reminded the jury that past offenses were not part of the trial, the pattern of behavior was impossible to ignore in the court of public opinion. For Anitra's family, the trial was a devastating experience. Her ex-husband, Lorenzo West, attended the proceedings with their 12-year-old daughter, who now had to face life without her mother. Lorenzo spoke publicly about the deep emotional toll this tragedy had taken on their family, stressing that the murder wasn't truly about a fast food order, but rather a long-standing personal conflict. His words reflected what many in the community believed, that the crime was fueled by bitterness, not a trivial workplace disagreement. "We were married for 15 years, and she was my high school sweetheart. We had gotten closer after we separated because we co-parented," Lorenzo said. "I just want my mama back. I don't want anybody else. She was the sweetest person in the world. Never met a stranger. But like anyone, if you wrong them, they'll protect themselves. But it was all about B. Nobody told me to get my daughter to the hospital after she got shot. The circumstances make it worse. At a chicken place over chicken. People should have better self-control these days. I hope you're held accountable. And I hope you never get to see your kids again." Monica Williams, charged with the murder of Anitra West at the Church's Chicken in Orange Mound, made her court appearance today. Action News 5's Imani Williams was there when Monica took the stand. The hearing was briefly reset due to her attorney's absence. But while court was in session, Anitra's parents were planning her funeral. Bruce and Ethnet Stevens, Anitra's parents, described their daughter as one of their 6 children who could light up any room with her personality. They shared how Anitra had just missed a family trip because she had to work, doing what she loved and was good at. She was a leader, they said. Her work ethic was second to none. Always on time, doing what she needed to do, and being there for her customers and her fellow employees. Working in food service isn't easy, but she never tired of it. She just kept going. According to court records, Monica Williams became involved in an argument over a food order on July 8th. Employees later told police that the same vehicle Williams was driving during the argument returned to the parking lot later that night while Anitra West was outside. It was then that the fatal gunshot rang out. Court records also show that a friend of Williams contacted the police the following day after watching the news. The friend confirmed they were in the car with Williams when the argument occurred. As Anitra's family makes funeral arrangements, they are focusing on remembering her as the vibrant, loving, and hardworking woman she was. She was a daughter, a sister, a mother, an aunt, a cousin. She was all of that and more. And she will truly be missed, said her family. The impact of Anitra's death continues to be deeply felt in Orange Mound, where she was a well-known, beloved community member. Anitra was not just another name in a police report. She was a familiar face, a mother who cherished her daughter, and a woman whose warmth and kindness left a lasting impression. Friends described her as a shining light who could lift the mood of an entire room. Former co-workers spoke of her dedication, even during long and stressful shifts. Her family remembered her strong faith, generosity, and unwavering willingness to help others. Anitra's funeral service was held at a local church, where friends, family, and community members gathered to celebrate her life. The large turnout reflected just how many lives she had touched. Flowers and photographs surrounded her casket, and those present shared a mixture of grief and disbelief. Pastors spoke of the importance of healing and unity in the aftermath of tragedy, and family members shared stories of Anitra's strength and sense of humor, giving a fuller picture of the woman they loved. For her 12-year-old daughter, the loss was immeasurable. Family members pledged to support her in the difficult years ahead, but they knew nothing could replace the presence of her mother. The tragedy also sparked a broader conversation in the community. Local leaders and residents called for greater efforts to reduce gun violence, emphasizing that no dispute, no matter how heated, should result in a life lost. Orange Mound, with its close-knit residents and long history, rallied around the idea that such tragedies should not become the norm. Anitra's death raises questions that are difficult to answer. How can a simple disagreement escalate into something irreversible? What could have been done to prevent it? Why does it often take a tragedy for a community to come together and address the root causes of violence? While the legal system will decide Monica Williams' fate, the responsibility extends beyond the courtroom. We all have a role to play in creating environments where conflicts are de-escalated, not inflamed. That means walking away when tempers flare and valuing life above all else. Anitra West's story is a heartbreaking reminder of how quickly everything can change. Her family will carry the pain of her loss forever, but her memory can serve as a reminder of the stakes when anger and violence replace patience and understanding. In her honor, let's choose to value life and work to ensure that no one else loses theirs in such a senseless way. Please subscribe to our channel for more updates and share your thoughts in the comments below.